At this point, Victor Gideon has Grace over his shoulder, and of course, he does not look like he would fit in with the crowd. Even he's done 10 rounds with the Baskervilles, but the people are obviously concerned, and he starts shooting people with darts, infecting them. And I was like, oh god, this is a new way people are getting infected now. Okay, and of course, everyone's going to become zombies. There's another outbreak. You are now Leon, and you have, as I've called him, the Barry Burton Leon earlier. He's now got a massive fucking magnum. Like, I have this. Really does spring to mind. And it's a very short section. You don't even have to kill anything. I think.
No, you can just run through it.
Yeah, you just run through it, and you kind of say goodbye to Leon for a long time. But depending on how you played the next part of the game, if you went through it really quickly, then you'd be Leon fairly quickly again for a short time. But yeah, so now we're Grace again. We're hanging upside down, and she's been knocked out. She's been hanging upside down for goodness knows how long, and she shows no sign of a headache whatsoever. She's lost a lot of blood, shows absolutely no signs of actual nausea. And yeah, she frees herself using what we'll just call them the FBI skills. And we're now Grace, and we're now in a singular room. She's lost a lot of blood, but she's perfectly fine. We get introduced to some of the game mechanics here because we're still technically on tutorial. And we don't have any weapons as you know, to speak of, sort of thing. And we meet the first, like, sort of, like, I'll say super boss of the game, called the girl. What did you think of the girl, guys? I'll start with you, Chef Benny.
Or I think you're just saying that because I look at my face. So, by far, one of the out of nowhere, like, best and scariest ways to introduce an enemy, in my opinion, because you didn't hear her coming up behind you, or with how big she is, you thought you'd hear a couple of footsteps behind you, because obviously it's the zombie falls on you, and then you put it on the floor, and then out of nowhere, this giant hand just grabs him and starts eating him, and then, like, looks at you, and it's like, oh, you're next on the menu, and then it's like, this thing is terrifying. Where did this come from? And I have a theory about that girl, which we'll get to later. But there's, without reading the book that kind of tells you what to do or how to, like, you know, like, avoid her, it's kind of obvious anyway, because only certain bits are lit up and only certain lights work, and it's like, okay, maybe if I just stay in the light, she'll stay away, and that's kind of the way it works. The only thing I didn't like for that first bit is there's a lot of, like, back and forth. If you're not knowing how to do it, especially on my first time, I kept going back and forth. I was like, what am I doing? Where am I going? Like, trying to get past her and all that stuff. And I think you can only have, like, one glass bottle there to, like, just use as a distraction. But she comes in the room anyway once you get the screwdriver, and it's like, because Grace, being the blonde that she is, knocks everything off of the tray, the thing that she's pushing over to climb up on top. And it's like, okay, just give your position away then. I mean, that adds to the horror aspect, I know, but this also adds to her blondness. I thought it was really cool that you had to find a source of light to carry around, being the lighter. I thought that was quite cool. Because, you know, it adds how much a lighter can show, also gives that horror aspect of it. And, like, playing in the first person, obviously, it's not mandatory you have to do it, but obviously the game recommends you to do it. So I was like, yeah, screw it, I'll do first person. And I'm so glad I did, because it was terrifying. I was so scared when I came across her. Like, my literal reaction was, what the fuck? Trying to run away, and you know, I thought it was quite a good first section, to be fair, and I'm very happy with how scary it was, because it kind of gave me a taste of what's to come, and I was very, very happy with that.
Yeah, as someone who played it for over the shoulder, it definitely was shit your pants scary. Even still, I think more because like when you've got the over the shoulder camera, you can sort of see behind Grace's shoulder, and you really are concerned of whether or not she's behind you. You know, I agree with you. Yeah, Danny, what did you think of the girl?
I absolutely scared the living life out of me, so much so that I accidentally hit my keyboard and ended stream.
That's got to be in your compilation. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I literally hid in the nurse's station for about 90% of the time, and some strange noises may have come out of me being chased by her. To the point of where I got back into the bedroom and told her to get away.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So
I was gonna say, I will notice though, like, I'm the strange person of noticing the most tiniest details and things. She had very much T-Rex feet going on. So
yeah, where did you get the sandals from?
I haven't paid attention to her feet.
Where did she get them sandals from? Was she queuing up at Primark for the sale at Christmas? You know, like, but yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. You do actually get to see a good shot of her feet later on in the game.
Just seeing her climb through the ceilings as well, I was like, oh no, she's going to turn into a massive spider, or she's going to start crawling along the ceilings. I was like, nope, get me out of here now.
Yeah, and Kaylee's added there so that she hated the girl. She's like, why are you jump scaring me like that for? She is bloody scary, I can tell you that. But it was by far a great first segment of the game. Yeah, I think Mank, you will probably second that as well. What did you think of the girl?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think you guys have just described that entire section there absolutely perfectly. You know, to sort of echo what Ben said, you know, you get the jump scare of the body in the is it like a cupboard or through the door or something like that. And I think after that bit, you kind of let your guard down a little bit, because you think, right, well, it scared me now. Now I'm going to go on to, what is that? What is that giant hat? Oh my lord! And the girl really reminds me of another character that we've seen in the franchise. I'm not going to say who just yet, because I've got a feeling it may come up again. But then the whole stalker kind of element, like having to run away and make sure that you don't get found. Really enjoyed that. You know, it's something that we've seen in the franchise before. As a little bit of a side note, that character really made me humble pie as well, because when you get is it the fuse that you've got to get from one end and then you've got to transport it to the other end? When I picked up the fuse and I took it to where I needed to go, I got very overconfident and dead cocksure of myself, and I'm going, oh yeah, so you can't get me now because the lights are on. I mean, is this my first time playing a Resident Evil game or what? How did I not predict what was about to happen? The light shut off and I just went, uh-oh.
I had to
And that's when he knew.
Yeah.
like you know the big, like the main like room that you start off in. On my first playthrough, I managed to like turn off the light, bait her in there, and turn it back on again, so she's like stunned for quite a while in there. The second time, however, I tried doing the exact same thing, and the light wouldn't turn back on. So I was absolutely shitting bricks. I was like, no, get me out.
Yeah. So for me, I didn't actually read the file on the girl. Now I need to navigate my way through this really dark like area. And when I figured out what you had to do by pushing the trolley to get the bit that you needed, it was like, right, okay, because at first I thought if I stood on the trolley and stood as far away back, she couldn't get me, and then she and when I actually did initially run away from her and I run back into the first room, the only reason I actually did that was because when I first got hit by the girl, I was able to just run straight past her after the first hit and sort of continue. And I thought, right, if I get her into this room, I can navigate around the table sort of thing, and not get hit. But then obviously I was just like, all right, okay, should didn't like this room. And then I kind of got like a Mr. X vibe or something like that, where like Mr. X isn't gonna come into the safe room, if you know what I mean. I thought, right, okay,
Yeah.
this is my safe room. And then it's only then I read the file. I was like, ah, right, okay. Because I did die a couple of times at the
I
beginning.
mean,
I died once.
going back to the, like, as Mank said, the stalking element, I think because Mr. X was such a fearful character from where he was, like, out to get you, that's what I feel like the girl was trying to do as well, like trying to get you, and you had to watch where you were going, making sure you didn't make any noise, otherwise she would just pop out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Yeah.
I feel that there was a part of that as well. And by the way that you did it is just really sort of brought this thing up, which I never actually realised until you've just said that there. I think this is one of potentially a few different parts of the game where it makes sure that you have to read files or that you have to find out certain bits of information, because if you don't, if you either miss the file or you just pick it up and you choose not to read it, there is the potential that it's going to come back and it's going to punish you for not doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Read your documents, guys.
Yeah, read your documents. But yeah, it was just like, all right, okay, this is the sort of the solution sort of thing. After I sort of realized that, I was like, right, okay, I'm gonna go get the screwdriver, I'm gonna go get the fuse. I didn't actually take a death after that. It was like, right, I've got the fuse in, and it's like, right, quickly get to this bit here, and of course, we're, you know, it's time to be Leon again, right?
There is one
But,
thing. Sorry, I was gonna say there is one thing that I wish. This is just my personal preference. Is that I don't think you should have been allowed to have gotten bitten by her so many times before dying. I feel like it should have been like maybe like twice at a maximum. Or even on a certain difficulty. I think on Insanity it might be a one shot, like an insta like cutscene, like bite to the head. Your head spurts off like jelly. But I feel like they should have done that regardless, because that would have added a lot more intensity to that first bit. And I generally feel like that could have made it, even though it was still a really, 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 really good first segment, it could have made it, and that, like, it could have gone from great to goated. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that could, if it was something like that, like, certain parts of the game still insta kill you, as Leon. So I thought maybe if they did it as Grace, like, it might, you know, it might bring a bit of more of intensity to it.
Yeah,
of course, yeah.
even maybe, and again, this is something that will probably come back up in conversation later on, but maybe the sort of element where if she gets too close, like the idea is you've got to remain a certain distance away from her, instead of, you know, you can get hit and run away, and, you know, instead of doing it that way, if she gets within a certain distance, that's it, you've had it. She's gonna grab you and she's gonna eat you. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think because I wanted to sort of like say what something that you sort of mentioned. My actual first thought when I saw the girl's face, was that for me, I actually thought it was like similar to the trolls in RE4. That's the first actual thing that I thought. I was like, oh god, there's a big troll there. Because you don't actually get to really see the girl's body because it's all dark and stuff like that, and like that's actually the first thing that I saw when I saw the girl's face.